right?
I'm Tony Kornheiser, still #1 in the seniors division.
I'm shocked and thrilled to see Idris Elba. You know what I call People Magazine usually? White People Magazine. Other than a few athletes and a few singers and dancers, People Magazine, they're not really acknowledging
So let me tell you something.
a cross-section of people in America.
My personal history with Idris Elba is this.
You got personal history?
Well, no, he's Stringer Bell. He's Stringer Bell. Okay, in The Wire, he's Stringer Bell.
Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that he was British. Could not believe it.
Do you not watch anything else?
That's
huh?
my introduction to him. British, couldn't believe it.
Man.
Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Kyrie Irving is mad. Giancarlo Stanton is the subject of a trade rumor. And the college basketball season starts tonight.
Yeah,
But we
all
begin
night.
today with the Dallas Cowboys losing at home last night to the Tennessee Titans by 2 touchdowns and falling to 3-5 on the season. After the game, Jerry Jones said he would not make an in-season coaching change, so Jason Garrett is presumably safe. Today, Jerry Jones said he would extend Dak Prescott's contract. Wilbon, are those the right calls?
Tony, I don't know. I don't know whether they're the right calls. The Dallas Cowboys just seem stale and stagnant to me. So I'm going to go to somebody that we know, who knows, who we have as a guest on this show over the years, Mr. Troy Aikman, who is, to me, always the voice of reason. And he said it was his opinion, as a former Cowboy, that they're in complete need of an overhaul for the organization. And he said nothing changes, and you can't just look at people and coaches and those basic things. He said you have to look at issues like how you run the organization. How is it that you evaluate? He knows Jerry looks at everything. But what about these big themes, these big picture themes? And I think Troy Aikman, of course, is right. It's just one connect the dot decision to another for the Cowboys. They never seem to get it right. And when they do, not for long, the Cowboys look like just another, I don't know, disorganized mess.
So are you saying that your interpretation of what Troy is saying is that the fault lies completely with Jerry Jones, and Jerry Jones has to go? Is that what you're saying?
I'm quoting,
right,
complete overhaul of the organization, where's that start? You tell me what you read into that.
I read into that same thing.
That the owner has to do something different.
I don't know what Jason Garrett has to do or not do to get fired. He's essentially a 500 coach. He's been there since 2010. He's had 2 playoff appearances. A lot of guys get the boot earlier than now. Dak Prescott threw an interception last night that was so terrible, I could not believe it. He had a receiver sandwiched in the end zone between two Tennessee guys.
I know.
Threw it soft and fluffy. You could have gotten it, and his receiver had no chance. I don't know about extending him. He doesn't look anywhere near as good without Des Bryant and Jason Witten. But I will say this about Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones hasn't had a big-time coach since Bill Parcells left after 2006.
Long time ago.
And you know what that suggests to me?
What?
That Jerry wants to be the star.
Jerry
wants to be.
Okay, then that would go back to what Troy said. They need to look at what they're doing as an organization. That starts with Jerry. I'll tell you something about Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott needs to be better coached. Dak Prescott could be my quarterback, but I want a coach that's going to do it a little bit differently than Jason Garrett.
I think it's very hard to lose receivers like that.
Well, who does that? Dak Prescott didn't kick him out of town.
No.
Jerry let him walk.
But
both of them.
He's not as good as he. Nobody there on the offense.
Yeah.
Defense is okay. Nobody there on the offense is as good as they were or should be.
Right. We agree on that. Today's Le'Veon Bell story is about language, Tony. ESPN and others are reporting Bell does not have to report by a specific date to get that accrued season toward free agency, as was previously reported. But he does have to report in the next 7 days to be eligible to play at all this season. There are those who feel there's no way Bell will play for a prorated portion of $14.5 million because he'd still be at risk without a long-term deal. So, Tony, does Bell's value go up or down if he sits the rest of this season?
Can I just take a 20 on this?
Yeah.
What do you mean that the story has changed? What do you mean that for months we've all been talking about something we assumed to be a fact, and now it is no longer a fact? How did that happen? Now, he can still be franchised. He can still be franchised. So to some degree, we're just spinning our wheels.
Yeah.
But if you're asking me what should he do, he should not risk injury. He should not play this season. He should let the leverage come back to him. He should not do it.
You think he gets that only by sitting? He'd have to be real lucky.
If he gets hurt.
Well, okay, wait a minute. Suppose, and I'm just going to give you another scenario. I'm not saying I'm in favor of it. But suppose he comes back next week when he has to.
Right.
And he winds up playing, 7 games, and he's great. his value would then go up if he didn't get hurt. I realize that's why I use the term at risk.
Like, where is his value? Is his value with James Conner, is his value the
Somewhere
same
else.
to the Steelers as it once was?
No.
If the coach says we don't want hostages in here,
Right.
is he saying, and did the lineman say earlier, what are we doing with this guy? So I think the best he can do is go
somewhere
someplace else.
Yeah.
And I would not, if I were he, I would not risk an injury now
Well,
that
not
would
now.
preclude me getting that contract.
Not now at $5 million when you've left $9.5 just this season on the table. You're hoping that
No, I
you'll
gotta
go
get
somewhere
more.
and get the long-term deal
Yes.
and the bonus that
Yes.
would make this sitting out worth it.
Yes.
Now, I don't know if I'd call that leverage, but I would say maybe you just have to sit. Now, I'm not calling it leverage.
I'm just stunned that we've been working on an assumption that isn't true. Last night, with 1 second left in the game and his team ahead by 8 points, Denver guard Jamal Murray launched a totally selfish three-point shot. It missed, but it frosted Boston's Kyrie Irving, who took the game ball and fired it into the stands. And Murray had 48 points at that time and admittedly was going for 50. So, Mike, I ask you, are you siding with Kyrie Irving's angry gesture?
Not exactly siding. Look, I know there's a unwritten rule in the NBA. When you're up substantially, you don't even take a shot at the end. People just dribble out the clock. They hand it to the ref. This happens every night in the league, every night over years and years and years. And in this case, I kept checking back on this game because I'm like, when is this guy going to get 50? Because he got 48. He got like 2 minutes left. I'm like, when is he going to get the... So he winds up with the ball in his hands, taking this shot. First of all, I would just say this to Kyrie, who I generally agree with on everything except the world being flat, and I think he's joking. Stop him at 40. You guys weren't embarrassed. You weren't intolerant of him scoring when he got to 32. I mean, they're beating you. Get upset before he gets to 48. But also, if you're going to take that shot, take it earlier. If you got 48 with 2+ minutes left, get to the 50 part before the last shot.
So Kyrie got fined $25,000
for chucking the ball
for the gesture, which I think is money he can live with at this point. I don't know what the rules of basketball
you know
are.
that one.
Here's what I know. I know if this was baseball, the next
drilled.
time, in the side,
okay,
baby.
But wait.
In the side, the next time he came
more
up to
basketball than anything. If Rick Barry had done this,
you dribble it out.
What would have happened?
You dribble the last second.
He wouldn't have done it.
And you hand.
Yes.
Now, here, I watched.
So you agree with Kyrie?
I do, to a large degree.
Yeah.
And I watched this morning. I watched Jamal Murray say, I hope I have this quoted accurately. I was going for 50. I shouldn't have done it, but it's all good. And I thought, it isn't all good.
With them.
It isn't all good with the other guy.
You know what? It's Denver. They play Boston one more time. Granted,
what do you think that'll be
Boston. Like? Well, you know what? This is like running it up. Then the Celtics should have stopped Jamal Murray. By the way, they're 9-1 with people you've never. Jokic, Murray, Gary Harris, Millsap, and a guy named Craig. Torrey Craig.
I don't know who that is.
Torrey Craig. You seen Torrey Craig? Can you identify him on the court?
But the protocol,
Denver, 9-1.
is you hit with a second to go.
You don't shoot it, but how many times are you going to have to score 50?
50 is a big number.
Yeah.
He didn't get it.
He didn't. It's close. Tony, maybe time to bag the notion that the New York Yankees are not interested in free agent Bryce Harper, your boy. Wallace Matthews reports in the Daily News that the Yankees could make room in their outfield and on the balance sheet by trading away Giancarlo Stanton. The thinking is that Stanton would waive his no-trade clause if the Yanks agreed to trade him closer to home, which means Dodgers or Angels. But let's get to the only issue that matters here. Is Harper over Stanton even an upgrade?
I will get to that. I just want to say that, and I've said this a lot, and you know that I feel this way, that I always expected Bryce Harper to go to the Yankees.
I know.
That growing up, he was a Yankee fan, that it is said Mickey Mantle was his idol, and I think he wanted to play center field for the New York Yankees. Now, is he an upgrade? I think he might be an upgrade over Stanton for a variety of reasons. He's 26. Stanton is 29 this week, so he's 3 years younger than Stanton. Stanton is a better power hitter. There's no question about that.
Just to that point.
Significant.
43 home runs and 109 runs
That's his average
per year for Stanton.
That's right.
Harper, 32 and 91.
There's no question about that. Harper is a better hitter for average. I don't know about the fielding. There's different ways of measuring the fielding. Here is the great advantage that Harper has over Stanton. He's a lefty. In that ballpark, being a lefty power hitter
Stanton
matters
hits him in the opposite field.
Harper hits him out that way all the time.
Okay.
And then it also gives you lefty-righty with Judge. which you don't have now.
That's what
so those
gives the manager an
small
advantage, although it's not a National League team. It's an American League team. And for 150 games, they just send guys up there and let them bash it to right field.
He gets on base more, too.
He gets on base slightly more,
so
388 to 358. That's to me, that's splitting hairs. 43 and 109 is a lot more than 32 and 91.
Yes.
Their batting averages are not dramatically different, 9 points, 268 to 279, so 11 points. But my point, Tony, is what I call all the stuff that we just talked about an upgrade. No, it's not an upgrade. It might be a direct trade-off. But so you need Harper for what? For PR? The Yankees don't need that.
I don't know.
He's not a local guy. Selling tickets isn't an issue.
Stan has no trades everywhere. I mean, if you ask me in an ideal world, if I now was with the Nats, would I trade Harper and get back Stanton?
You know what?
And I would, because I don't expect to keep
You know
Harper.
what Harper's going to do? He's going to stay in Washington.
That'd be great.
Stay in right.
I'd be happy.
That's what I'm betting on.
As the story goes, 7 Ottawa Senators players were sharing an Uber, big Uber, in Phoenix in late October because of a game against the Coyotes.
6 dudes? Come on.
As fate would have it, they began to talk rather disparagingly about assistant coach Martin Raymond and the penalty kill unit he directs. How do we know it was disparaging? This private conversation among friends? Because the Uber driver taped it and then posted it on the YouTube. The players have since apologized to their coach. But Wilbon, how do you feel about what happened here?
Well, first of all, I would never share an Uber with 6 dudes. That is just not happening. Not even Uber Black.
And you only take Uber Black, right? That's
only
all
Uber
you
Black.
take.
No X.
Right.
X is you just hitchhiking.
Yeah.
Uber X. So I don't understand.
Don't want it.
But so that is just sort of shocking.
I'm a
to me,
cab guy.
That visual. Yeah. No, yeah. Try that in Phoenix.
Cab.
See how far that gets you. But this is so cheesy. It is so cheesy and so lame that if I had this guy's name, it's good I don't have his name, because I would try to organize a boycott of this particular Uber driver, especially when you're leaving City Hall a little late, on Friday or Saturday night. What?
I think this is the act of a snake. I really do. I understand that in Arizona, only one person has to have knowledge of something.
Unbelievable.
But where is the sanctuary? If it's not in
You can't talk. And it didn't say anything all that rough. Really,
look,
what they said was nothing. It wasn't that big a deal.
I'm sensitive to this, and maybe you are too, because we are public figures to a large degree.
Cell phones.
If I thought that my conversation in a cab,
Uber.
No. It's like in the makeup room. No. What you say, it never leaves. This is, I believe, terrible. And I don't know how they coexist with this coach, even though they've apologized.
Easily. It wasn't that rough. They didn't rough up the coach. They didn't. They didn't call him any names.
Let's take a break.
Don't do that.
Coming up, we've all seen the dunks, but what else should we expect to see out of Wilbon's boy, Zion Williamson?
He looked good in a red uniform. Man, he would look good in red. Where does Kansas stand after an offseason of legal drama?
I just think this is, he taped it and he posted it. You can't do that. You can't be employed and do that.
It's lame.
A months-long PTI investigation has uncovered that the college basketball season begins tonight.
No.
And it all starts right after this show on ESPN. From the Champions Classic in Indianapolis, we welcome in our good friend, the dashing young college basketball analyst, Jay Williams, who might have a uniform under that sweater.
He has no more eligibility left. That I know.
It's conceivable that's a uniform shirt. Let us start with this. There's 2 very big games. There's 4 giant programs, Michigan State, Kansas, Duke, Kentucky. Kansas is the preseason #1. Why are they ranked first? Do the Jayhawks have something that the others don't?
Well, Kansas obviously losing 3 of their players from last year, Devontae Graham and Malik Newman and Svi, 2 guys that combined for around 45 points per game. But it's what they return, though. So, everybody's big in the transfer game, guys. Well, they got 2 transfers and one who's probably going to be the Big 12 Player of the Year in Dedrick Lawson. He played for Memphis. He transferred there. He's kind of like a LaMarcus Aldridge type of player on the collegiate level. He can get them a lot of points down low, combined with Udoka Azubuike, who's another guy who's just a man down low. And their guards are really, really good. One of the most underrated guards in the country. You won't hear a lot of his names because we'll be talking about, Zion Williamson or R.J. Barrett or Keldon Johnson from Kentucky. But his name is Quentin Grimes. This guard is so dynamic. He can get to the rim whenever he wants. He makes players around him better, and he has that same kind of dog mentality that Devontae Graham had. This team is loaded in every single position, and they could once again get to back-to-back Final Fours.
All right, well, let's talk about somebody who's not playing, at least for now, Silvio De Sousa. How important is him becoming eligible at some point to Kansas and serious title hopes, Jay?
Well, I mean, look, Mike, that brings up a whole array of emotions for me. I don't know if he'll ever be considered, eligible. But why are the players the only ones who aren't eligible? I mean, there have been coaches' names who have been thrown into the ring on some of these court trials, and the coaches have nothing to say for it. It's the players who are constantly ineligible. I mean, a kid like Bowden, it continues to really bother me that it's always the players who end up suffering. Now, Rick Pitino is one thing, but he was on his third strike. And we haven't had any other college coaches who have been suspended or also given any of their assistant coaches suspensions. It's only the players. I know I get animated about this, but there's a fundamental problem with that for me.
I'm going to go back to your alma mater, to Duke, to ask you about 3 prized freshmen. Let's start with Zion Williamson. We've seen all the highlights. Is this kid as advanced as we've been led to believe he is?
Mike, he is the most popular player we've had in this game since LeBron James. He brings that popularity to the table. It's unprecedented in the one-and-done era that a team has had the number 1, number 2, and 3rd best prospect in the nation. This is going to be a very challenging year for Duke. Obviously, they come out on ESPN Plus with Earn Everything. It's a great series to watch. But the amount of attention and eyeballs, it's going to be fascinating to watch how they deal with the amplification of every issue that happens on this team. So you have guys like Cam Reddish. You have a guy like R.J. Barrett, who potentially is going to be the first pick in the draft. And then you have Zion Williamson, who every single night is going to be on some kind of highlight reel. The question is, do they have the same chemistry that you need in order to really win a championship? But that's something from a fan perspective, with the way that we're going to break them down and watch them consistently, you're going to get a great story to watch this year just by watching every move that they make.
Wilbon, to be fair, cares about Zion Williamson because he hopes the Bulls will get him.
Yes.
I mean, this is Wilbon's entire interest
Yes.
is who the Bulls might get and who they could tank
Adam
for.
with Zach LaVine. Adam with Zach LaVine and Wendell
There you
Carter.
go.
100%.
There you go.
Oh, there you go. So we'll get you out of here on this, and we want it to be quick. We're going to clip the answer. We are going to hold it against you because we love you. But at the end of the season, who are the 4 teams that are going to be fighting it out in the Final Four? Quick, go.
Okay, I go Gonzaga and the 3 teams here tonight. So I go Gonzaga, Kentucky, Duke, and then the last team would be Kansas. There you go. That's my Final Four.
Good job. Thank you, Jay.
Jay, as always, we appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
College Game Day for the
Thanks, Mike.
Champions
Thanks, Tony.
Classic begins right after us on ESPN. We're going to take one last break, and still to come are the Giants and 49ers starting the right quarterbacks on Monday night.
Really? We got to watch that game?
Yeah.
You got to watch that? Did the Blackhawks make the right move in dumping the coach who led them to 3 Stanley Cups and the verge of 2 others?
Sort of a
Coach
stunner
Q.
to me.
Coach
To
Q.
me, sort of a stunner.
I wasn't
To me.
stunned. I was sort of disappointed, but I think I understand it.
Really?
Yeah, he was okay with it.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't think. Yeah, I wouldn't.
This is salt.
Have a time. People, happy 30th birthday, Emma Stone. Terrific actress. I loved her in Superbad and Birdman and La La Land, for which she won an Oscar.
You're a
Sports
groupie.
Connection.
Listen to you.
She played Billie Jean King in last year's biopic about King and Bobby Riggs called Battle of the Sexes. Incidentally, Steve Carell's dead ringer for Bobby Riggs. Wilbon, are you an Emma Stone fan? Because I know you're a Sharon Stone fan.
Well, in the Stone grouping, Sharon Stone and Steve Stone
They get 1
probably
and
go
2.
before Emma Stone is a fine actress. Not Sharon Stone. Come on now.
Happy anniversary, Patrick Peterson. On this day 7 years ago as a rookie, you fielded a punt against the Rams on your own 1-yard line in overtime. You ended up setting an NFL record for the longest overtime punt return for a touchdown.
Look at that.
After
He was
requesting
going
a trade
backward.
from the
Oh,
Cardinals
that's a
last
move.
month, Peterson issued a statement reversing his field and vouching his long-term commitment to that franchise. Wilbon, isn't that odd? You think Jimmy Butler will do that?
Get off my man. By the way, aren't you glad I didn't skew older by going Alex Stone and Donna Stone? You want to tell people?
That's a television
Which
show.
one?
Stop with this already. Happy trails,
Father
Joel
knows
Glenville. The Chicago Blackhawks fired Coach Q today after the
This is tough.
Blackhawks dropped to 6-6-3,
This is
which,
hard.
if the playoffs started today, would find him nowhere near it.
3 cups.
Wilbon, I will yield my time to you, but I find it incredible that a guy who won 3 Stanley Cups since 2010 is out on the street. What happened to Midwestern
Man.
hospitality? Respect. Respect.
It's more than Ditka. It's more than Madden. It's a few fewer than Phil Jackson. But look, in 2015, we won the cup. 16 out in the first round, 17 out in the first round, 18 missed the playoffs, and now scheduled to miss the playoffs if the season ended today. So it's like Tom Coughlin and Bruce Bochy. You can't win forever.
How many people in the NHL who are active have 3? The answer is him.
He's great.
He's the
He's a
one.
great coach.
Let's go to the big
He'll
finish.
go somewhere else and win.
Eli Manning will start for the Giants against the Niners next Monday night. Great game. Is
It's
that a
the
good call?
only move they got. Nick Mullins, whoever that is,
He
gonna
played
start
well.
for the Niners. He had a great debut. Des Bryant, Brandon Marshall, they're working out for the Saints today. Who would you prefer?
I would probably prefer Des Bryant, but Saints are loaded now. I mean, they're really good right now.
receiver.
Bruce Arians says the Browns' job is the one he might come out of retirement for. Should Cleveland have any interest?
You know, I know this is tied to Baker Mayfield, and coaches have fascination with Baker Mayfield, who may get a couple more fired before it's all over. Tom Brady tells Peter King he plans to be around for his 2022 game against Aaron Rodgers and the Cheeseheads. Possible?
Could be 45.
That's a long time.
Last one, 8-1 Bucks against the 7-3 Blazers tonight. Who you got?
I'm going to take the Blazers at home, but Antetokounmpo, Tony, he's the 10-game MVP.
Well, Anthony Davis was the 4-game.
Yeah, well, you know,
Right
stuff
time. Try to do better than next time. I'm Tony Cornhusker.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, you knuckleheads. You can get the PTI podcast on the ESPN app.